Welcome to 1407 Great Malkin Lane. This is the living member of the X-Men. Don't let anyone tell you different. Okay, with the ending of the Krakoa era and the upcoming From the Ashes era approaching, I wanted to dive a little bit into my thoughts about the Krakoa era and where I stand with it because I I'm kind of on the fence with it because there are some parts that I really liked, and there's some areas that I found troubling. When the era kicked off, I was super into it. The bold new direction, the Krakoa setup, Moira being a villain, but then it made me want to go back and you kind of saw it coming. Um, it felt fresh. It felt exciting. You felt it was progression, the mutant story, because this would mean they would have to have different types of superhero fights. This would mean they would butt heads with the Avengers a little bit more often, but not only that, they had to butt heads with other countries, and I wanted to see that. I want because in the beginning, like X-Men was really good. What was good about X-Men was not only did it focus it had a singular focus. It was heavily implied that Cyclops was going to be the main like POV for this series. And the first issue was amazing. Seeing him with his family, I was a little annoyed that Wolverine, who I've come to refer to as the drunken homeless troll living at their house. And then that whole thing with the interconnecting rooms, I came up with a more Cyclops reason why each one had a function. Wolverine's, it was like communication or weapons. Jean um, had its own little cerebro, and Cyclops was just his planning room. It didn't have to be for sex. But other than that, it was good to see just the family interact. I really wanted more of that, but it was cool. Second issue, we got to see Cyclops, Cable, and Rachel have some bonding time. That was cool. And we got to see the we got to see the Apocalypse's grandson. So that was cool. Third issue, Horde Culture. Hey, I like Horde Culture. I didn't think they were I didn't think they were bad villains. And plus they were snarky. I just think they needed better writing. The fourth one was probably my favorite issue when okay, if you can li- read X-Men 104 and listen to Kanye West and Pusha T. Actually, listen to New God Flow while listening to this, while reading this, and promise you, I promise you, you were like, oh, there's a theme here. Like everything else was solid. The Crucible thing was cool. Mystique. I wish they would have saw more of like why people wouldn't trust Mystique even without that interior motive. The Brood thing was really cool. Um, they kept on setting up uh Vulcan, but we never got the chance to see it. New Mutant. This book was it felt like it was trying to build up to something, which was Hickman's idea of doing the Cannibal and Sunspot book, with somehow Sunspot becoming king of the Shi'ar Empire. But this book was just all over the place. It didn't have all the New Mutants. It just had the ones that you kind of remembered: Danny, Rain, Ileana, Karma, Roberto, Doug, and Warlock. We didn't see Sam until like the very end, and we didn't get them to see interact with Magma, which is really weird because they were all friends, and in this era, it just made it seem like they're more cliquish. Like, yeah, we are all in classes together, but some of us are closer friends than others. And yeah, I understand that does happen in real life, but like these kids went through a lot. You would think all of them were tight. Or I don't know, or at least acknowledge that Amara wasn't there. Vidai Era's run was weird. It seemed like uh, it just seemed like the Shadow King was wrong just because he was older and he was a man. And it's like, oh, he's grooming these kids. Like, well, I mean, not really. Like how and the whole thing with Danny telling Cosmar that you shouldn't be ashamed of anything about your powers because they make you who you are, which is really condescending coming from a pretty mutant like Danny Moonstar. And at the end of it, they ended up changing her face thanks to Mask. I really think it was warranted that long of an arc, but whatever. But this book was just uneven. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It was really good. X Force. X Force. Oh, okay. X Force started off like actually there was no X Force. X Force started off because the mute the mutants were attacked by the Reavers, and everybody was all on board with this. Oh, we need a Black Ops team to take care of the humans that are trying to get us. Uh, everybody was on board. Like Beast was the one who wasn't completely on board. It was Wolverine, Jean, Black Tom. Like they killed Xavier after a month of the school, not the school of the country being its own thing. And then as soon as the bloodlust was gone, everybody's like, yeah, I don't think we should do this anymore. This is messed up. Like what? Really? Just because you lost the bloodlust doesn't mean the rest of the world has. And like, here's the thing: putting Jean on X Force was one of the dumbest moves because she doesn't do being behind the scenes. She's a in your face, in the limelight type of chick. Like she she can't do black ops like that. She does. It's not her style. But Ben Percy, he hated Beast. Like just well, actually, I don't think he hated Beast. It's just Marvel has this weird thing about intelligence in older people. If you're a man and you're intelligent, you're only one bad day away from becoming a supervillain. But if you're under age 25, um, you could be as idyllic and make mistakes as much as you want. But Percy doesn't know what the hell he's doing ever. Unless it's writing Wolverine, which in that case, keep him away from the X-Men. That seemed like it was good, really good. Excalibur. Excalibur to me sounded like it had the best lineup. It had the most interesting lineup. You had Betsy, you had Jubilee, Rogue, Gambit, Richter, and Apocalypse. I wanted to see that team dynamic. Like, what like how would they like okay, first of all, we all know that um Gambit, Rogue, Betsy, and Jubilee know each other. They know each other for a long time. And so and adding Richter, who like they kind of know he's kind of like a cousin don't really see because he was always with X Force. He's never really hung with the X-Men. And then you got Apocalypse. Just I wanted to see that team like but, Apocalypse gets taken out, and it becomes the Teeny Howard fan fiction show, and where we just see everything just focus. Everything's on Betsy, even though they set up other stuff, like the Kandra thing. She was placed in a gym, and Gambit has her in her pocket and hasn't told anybody, and they never go back to it. um, That's one. Another one was Twitter. Uh, I started to see how toxic the fandom got. They were think like everything that Krakoa happened, like that's been under the surface for years, and people said it was like Orgy Island, and I really pushed back against that because I was like, no, it's not. They just want a place where they can just hang out. It's not supposed to be like, oh, we're just here so we can just use our powers and have sex with each other all the time. That is a really reductive, and I honestly I thought it was people who were projecting their horniness onto their favorite character because I learned this from Twitter. People want their superheroes to be as sexually experimentative as they are. It, yeah. One of the biggest problems for me was Mystique and Destiny. I they've always been terrorists. That's always been integral with who they are. They love each other, but they just want to burn everything to the ground. They're a couple of dogs in a manger. And now they're being portrayed as heroes. And it seems like a lot of it's being swept under this rug because they're in love with each other. And that's cool. That they've always been a couple forever. That's fine. But really, you're saying, "Oh yeah, it's fine," because they're in love. You're saying that love is makes you insane. Like they're crazy. But no, that's okay because they they're the type of couple who would watch the world burn as long as they're dancing with each other, and it's psychotic. Ugh. Another major issue was how they did Charles Xavier. He, Moira, and Magneto were all part of, or all in it together for the creation of Krakoa, and it made it seem like it was all the blame always goes to Charles. Magneto was right there with it, saying like, "Yeah, all right, let's not bring Destiny back. All right, let's do it. Like I'm with it." But Charles gets all the blame. They find out that Moira was still alive. Charles gets all the blame, but Magneto's like, okay, bye." He leaves for Morocco while Xavier stays on Earth and keeps taking the punches. You saw where the you saw where everybody, where all the writers stood when it came to Xavier, and it and with that, we kept on seeing why this place needs to fail, not why it should be around. And some people say they don't like the superhero aspects, and some people say they don't like the political aspect. I love them both, but we need a balance. We need a solid balance of superhero and political because it can be done. It can so like this is why I love it. Like when the X-Men are good, they're great. Easily the best one. Easily the best comic book franchise going. But they, I don't know. Like we need some new blood. We need some fresh takes. We need an act. We need an editor or just a writing staff that acknowledges what has come before, but also can push the story in a way that everybody feels satisfied. These are just my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, like, share, comment, subscribe. This is 1407 Graymalkin Lane. See you
That's
soon.
why he's